So Science Day is a public event, and to protect your privacy, you can change your display name before entering a session. Closed captioning can be turned on by pressing the closed captioning icon just above the video. If you run into any technical issues or need accommodations, please email all of us scienceday@pixispartners.co. To ask a question, select the Q&A option at the top right of your screen, type your question, and submit it. Questions submitted through the chat box will not be monitored. We ask that you use the Q&A box. So, a bit about today. Today's session is called The Voices of All of Us, From Discovery to Impact. And this session is about more than research. It's about the people, experiences, and the real life impact of participating in the program. And as a part of our program's core value of treating participants as partners, the All of Us infrastructure is designed to ensure participant voices are represented throughout the program. And I like to share that since 2018, the program has had over 80 participants involved in program governance, and over hundreds more involved locally through local and community advisory boards at the respective healthcare provider organizations and our engagement partners. And so today we will hear directly from participants who have served in a national capacity as a participant ambassador and also members of program governance committees, contributing valuable input that has shaped many program decisions. They will share their journeys, what brought them to the program, what they have experienced, and how these experiences have informed their perspectives on health, research, and community. For those joining as researchers or community partners, this is a chance to listen deeply to the lived experiences behind the data. And so I want to set a quick intention for our time together. This is a space for open and respectful sharing. There's no right or wrong answers, just real experiences. We're here to learn, listen, and reflect. And I might gently guide the conversation to make sure we hear from everyone, but this is really about your voices. And so to get us started, I would love for each of our participants to briefly introduce themselves. Just give me your name and one or two sentences about how you're connected to the All of Us research program. And we can start with Adriana, then Daniel, then Aaliyah.
Thank you, Angelica. So thankful to be part of this session. I'm Adriana Mares, and I have been involved with the All of Us since 2018, when I first joined as a participant. Since then, I've had the opportunity to be part of the first cohort of All of Us scholars, serve as participant ambassador both in my home community of El Paso, Texas, and nationally. And most recently, I've joined the Participant Partner Alumni Network. I'm grateful to my mentors, Dr. Viviana Mancera and Dr. Robert Kirkin at the University of Texas at El Paso, as well as the National Alliance for Hispanic Health, Team Brian and Edgar, and the All of Us team, including you, Angelica, Rachel, Meredith. I can go on and on. The Vanderbilt team for supporting my involvement in the All of Us. So thankful for being here. Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm Daniel G. Garza out of Laguna Beach, California. I came to be involved, I believe it was 2019 when I first discovered it. And it was at a conference and the poster said all of us. And I went up to the person and said, if it's all of us, why am I not part of it? And the next thing I know, I became the chair of the ambassador program. I've done some work here in Southern California at different events. I was also an advisor on the national program, so that was kind of cool. And here we are today. Thank you for having me.
Hi, everybody. My name's Aaliyah Graham. I am a triple negative breast cancer survivor, which actually somehow I got introduced to All of Us through a program that I was a part of here in the Chicagoland area. I've been with All of Us since 2020. I have served on many different committees, boards. I too work with Vanderbilt, and I have been enjoying my time here. I am a 6-year cancer survivor, and I can't ever see myself leaving this program. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you all for introducing yourself. And so let's start with you, Adriana. What first drew you to the All of Us research program?
Thank you, Angelica. What first drew me to the All of Us was its mission to make research more inclusive and representative of diverse communities. When I joined in 2018, I was still an undergrad at the University of Texas at El Paso, and that was my first time learning about the All of Us. And I was just really impressed about how the All of Us and agency like the NIH was so invested in our community, our a majority Hispanic community. And so this gave people the liberty to join, contribute to science, and learn about their health at the same time. So it just made sense to me to join the program, and it felt like an opportunity to be part of something bigger than myself, something that contribute to science and to research. And so that's what I enjoyed the most of having joined the All of Us.
Awesome. And so before joining the program, how did you think about your health or participating in research?
So before joining, I viewed health as like more of a traditional way because I thought of research as something that happened in the laboratory. As I mentioned, I was still undergrad, and so I undergrad in college, and so I knew what bench work research was about, how that happens inside a laboratory, work with cells and experiments. And so the All of Us changed things for me. It showed that research is shaped by people, the very individuals, us taxpayers who fund the science. I began to understand that participants can contribute to research across many areas, from cardiovascular disease, sleep, metabolic conditions, and so many other conditions that the All of Us is looking into. And so that's when I realized how valuable participation is in shaping scientific contributions. And it just doesn't just happen in a benchwork lab, it happens in our own communities.
Yes, hi. We are going to continue.
Yes.
If you can, Daniel, if you can. Oh, there we go.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
No worries.
And so since being a part of the program, if all, has your perspective changed about research?
Absolutely, because the All of Us is known to be a 10-year longitudinal program. That's when I also realized that research is not just looking at just a point of time. It's looking at how people change over time, and that's what makes the All of Us very unique. And so because it captures conditions like sleep and cardiovascular disease, take for example, individual joins 1 year, and at that point of their life they don't have any sort of condition, but perhaps 5-10 years down the line they develop a condition, and or something that is of relevant for science to the All of Us. And so that's how my perspective has changed on the research and the All of Us overall, how it's a longitudinal perspective. And I've also gained appreciation on how much people trust the program, because the All of Us has built everything around transparency. I've gained appreciation towards its CEO updates, updates on how they are collaborating with new institutions, how they are looking into other factors that I never thought of, like sleep and Fitbit data. So that has been very, very incredible to see and witness. So yeah, I think my perspective has changed from looking at research as a longitudinal thing, and also secondly, how people have trust the All of Us, and just how the program has built everything around transparency.
Awesome. Can you share a moment that made that change feel real for you?
Absolutely. I think thanks to the Oliva, to the National Alliance for Hispanic Health, with Brian and Edgar Gilrico, I was awarded a grant and I had the opportunity to conduct my own research using the Oliva's Researcher Workbench. That experience made my experience that experience made everything feel real to me because I moved away from just being a participant ambassador, but now as an actual researcher and with funding. And I realized that the program was supporting me in many other ways that I never thought of, from my undergrad to now being in professional school and now being awarded my first grant as principal investigator. So that was just like a full circle moment, which the All of Us has witnessed my growth in my career and has showed me how powerful the program is for researchers, but for also participants who are helping to drive those discoveries forward. I've also had the chance to attend meetings with Congress advocating for pediatric enrollment for the All of Us. And most recently, I had the chance to meet with Secretary Kennedy to discuss nutrition, where I brought up the work that the All of Us is doing on nutrition, like the NPH. And so I also have had the chance to advocate for their program, and that just felt real to me because I've moved away from just being a participant ambassador, now a researcher with funding, and now as an advocate on the national level with policymakers. And I'm just very grateful for these opportunities to be just very involved with the All of Us and have an impact.
Thank you for that. I have to say, as the participant engagement lead, it's been a pleasure and an honor to see actually the evolution of your career from coming in younger and being a student to all the way to where you are now. Even when you reached out to me a few weeks ago and even told me that you had the opportunity to talk to Secretary Kennedy about all of this stuff. So I think this is wonderful. So thank you for that. So now I'm going to go to Daniel. I'd love to hear your story. Can you share a moment or experience in the program that really stood out to you?
Sure. A moment that stood out for me. I think getting my first reports back, the first time that I was able to look in the app and see who I was. One of the platforms that I've had, a little bit of a backstory, I've been in advocacy for over 20 years. I started in HIV back in 2001, graduated into cancer. I'm a cancer survivor. And whenever the doctors or anybody would ask about my medical history, it was always hard to say. And one of the things I say in all presentations is that as the child of immigrant parents, our medical history gets lost at the border. No matter how much I asked, I never got clear information about what the history was in the family, about cancer, diabetes, cholesterol, all those information. So with the first time that I got results back, and they're like, you go to your app, you got some info. And it was like getting to know me for the first time. It was information that I'd never had. It was information that I could relay to my doctors. And now I could actually talk to other participants, fellow patients, and say, hey, this is somewhere where you can go and get the information that we've been missing. Because obviously the doctors can't get you all the information. So it was like getting to know a part of me that I never knew. And I was about, I wasn't even 50 yet. So it took 40 some years to find out who I was, medically speaking.
And that's an amazing story. Every time you tell it, I hear the passion, but also the desire to know more about yourself. And I think that it's really cool that you were able to do that. You kind of already shared a little bit, but is there anything else you want to share about what kind of made that moment meaningful to you?
Yeah, and I'd like to move forward a little bit because it wasn't necessarily that moment. It was another moment in time. Just for everybody out there watching, I'm 55 years old, and I was 53 years old. So 2 years ago, through through ancestry, and some family conversations, I found out that I was adopted. And so I was 53 years old. I found out when I was adopted. So that research, all those studies, all that information took on an even bigger meaning in my life. It wasn't just about medical knowledge, it was about personal knowledge. My mom passed away several years ago, and my dad has dementia. So to ask them about where I came from, I'm not going to get the answers. I may never get the answers of who my birth parents are, but I have information of where I came from. And I know that there's, through the last couple of years, I've met a lot of other adoptees who found out later in life. And I tell them, have you done your DNA tested? And they're like, what's the difference? I'm like, let me tell you about all of us and the difference it's going to make. And so from where I started as just a participant, then to move on as an ambassador, as a chair of committees, and to where I am now and we're out here, it has not just been a historical journey. I mean, a medical journey. It's been a historical journey for me to find out, not just who I am medically and what's wrong with me, but I have this vision of who my, it sounds very grandiose, but who my ancestors are. I can look in my history now because no matter how much I asked my parents about cancer, even when they said, "Oh no, nobody in the family has cancer," now I come to know that that's not really true because they're not my birth parents. So I've been slowly the last couple of years through all of us and other programs and just asking people around in my family, putting things together and finding out who I am. So it's not just about medical; it's also about giving you a sense of identity and a little bit of dignity.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. How has participating influenced how you think about your health now and your role in research? I know you talked about, all the different committees, and I also know that you're an advocate for many different health things, but, let's share a little bit about, your role in research and what that looks like.
Yeah, so the way it's changed or the way it impacts, since I started, since I began working with all of us, to now, I am now the director of outreach for a nonprofit organization, and we work in cancer. We work with in colorectal cancer, we just got a grant to create a study, to create a questionnaire and put together some research. So not only have I learned things about me, but I learned about the process and how to put a questionnaire out, how to put a survey out, how to address the community. I work primarily in the Latin and LGBTQIA2S community. So I've learned how to approach my communities better. I've learned to not mark that distance between researcher and researchee, if that's even a word, but how to combine both because I am both. So the way that it's impacted me and the way that it's changed me and the way that I am now is that I've seen research and studies from both sides. And as I'm putting something together, I can take all that knowledge and knock on wood, hopefully make it as approachable and as welcoming as it possibly can. I think everybody watching and everybody here on the panel understands how difficult it is sometimes for folks, particularly in the Latin and the LGBTQIS community, to trust research and studies. So I really hope that the knowledge that I've acquired uh, will help me create something that is welcoming, that can move us forward, and ultimately help me grow a little more, personally and professionally.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Aaliyah, we'd love to hear your perspective. What surprised you most about being a part of this program?
Before I give you my response, let me just say every time, and I've been on a couple panels with Daniel in the past, every time he tells a story, I learn something so much more fascinating than the time before. So I just want to say that I appreciate your response so much, Daniel. You just don't know. The work here is very impactful, and I so wholeheartedly appreciate just being in this room with all of you for that matter. the thing that surprised me most about the All of Us organization is the engagement and the inclusiveness. So just to give you a brief history of my story, I am a triple negative breast cancer survivor. I've been cancer free for the past 6 years. Shout out to me if nobody else shouts me out. When I first got diagnosed, I realized because of the numbers that African American women were the ones who were dying at a more rapid rate than other, not even just minorities, but people, period. So that's when I started the journey into finding out what exactly I needed to do. How can I help my community? My grandmother was a breast cancer survivor. She has since passed away, but not from cancer. So I had to tell myself repeatedly, if she can do it at 80 years old, surely I can do it at 44. So that would have to be the most, no matter where I think I'm going in life, All of Us finds me and they're like, hey, we need you to do this. And my answer is generally yes. But that's been the most, I'd have to say for myself, just the inclusiveness and understanding that there is definitely a need for a program like this.
Thank you. And you kind of almost answer it. But is there anything you want to share about, why did that like stand out for you? And I just want to thank you again, because I know that you, like you said, like you've done a lot for the program, as all of you have. You even got to, go out and speak with the CEO, Dr. Josh Denny, even about, you surviving cancer and all of that. And so it's really also awesome to hear your story, as well as all, three of you. But is there anything in particular that stood out about what surprised you?
If I could be honest, kind of all of it. Like, so I didn't know anything. When I got diagnosed with cancer, I was just literally like, oh my God. But partnering with the All of Us program, first off, lets me know that I'm going to be okay. And if there's cancer folks on the phone, you'll be okay. But again, I'm no doctor and I'm not trying to, anyway, that's just my optimism. But yes, I did speak on a panel in Maryland, and just, again, the inclusiveness, it stands out to me because when I look around a room, and I come from a nonprofit that is judges and lawyers, and the dynamics are very different from an All of Us organization, because I see people like me and I see people like those who are on the call with me today. And if I need to be giving my input about something, regardless of what it is, you always want to hold the most impact with the people who you feel are dearest to you. And that's my community. Just like, Daniel mentioned his community and Adrian mentioned their community. So for me too, and All of Us recognizes that, we're not all the same, but we're the same. So, and where there are differences, All of Us is going to let us know how they're addressing it, how they plan on doing the research. And it's a great place to be. Like, people should, and just another bit of background, generally the people in the African American community have a very low trust level for research and the medical history and things like that, because just historically we've been like the test dummies. So people don't want to participate in any research or anything like that. But when you see faces like mine, it's more welcoming. So I can't stress the inclusiveness. Like, this is definitely a great program.
Thank you. I have to agree. And there's so many people that represent everyone across the country, whether it be geographically. It's very diverse, and that's what I do also like about the program. And so when you think about from discovery to impact, what does that impact look like for you?
So I can only be honest, right? I feel like there is a ton of more work to do, which kind of sings into the praises of All of Us and their ability to withstand the economic crisis that we've been having. So I do feel like there is more work to do. I don't feel like we'll probably ever get to the end of the road with research and cancer studies and HIV studies and the young people coming in from college. Hopefully All of Us will be will be around for an extensive amount of time because it's very much so needed. And I just feel like once there is a more comprehensive view into the healthcare industry, hopefully people in my community won't feel as threatened by healthcare providers, or a little bit more trustworthy. So I don't know, Dan, you touched on the results from our DNA testing. And again, if I didn't have all of us, I would not have known that I don't have a BRCA mutation for cancer. So the cancer that I received that's the end for me, right? I got to the end, and I know now that it's not because my mom or my dad are genetically prone to cancer, but mine was due to stress, and I needed to know where the heck it came from, So I don't know that there'll ever be an endpoint for all of us. And I hope that the people, my words go from this meeting to the hearts of the folks who fund it. So I want you guys to be around forever. It's very much so needed.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to thank all of you. Like, your stories were very powerful. But I'd love to open it up a bit for a little bit of reflection across the group. And any one of you can answer. Are there any common themes that you kind of already touched on it, Aaliyah? Are there any other common themes that you're hearing across each other's stories?
I have to say that because we all have been involved with the All of Us, that's what the All of Us tends to do. It tends to find a role for us because we believe in the program so much, and there's many others like us. I have colleagues in my own school who are inclined to inform their own communities about joining the All of Us. And so I think that's what's unique about the program too, is that whatever you're interested in, like in research, it will help you, first create an account with a researcher workbench. It'll try to find you opportunities to gain funding, to gain access to researchers who are doing the same study as you, or etc. It will just find a role for you in the program, whatever you're interested in. And so it's just like showing that interest, which I think all of us has shown, and you, Angelica, Rachel, many others have found a role for us to contribute to the program, and we're just so grateful for that. So I think that's the theme that I found, just like listening to others, and also my own colleagues who have found a role with the program.
Awesome. Anybody else?
We're talking about what unites us, and I just came back about 3 weeks ago from the Capitol, from AIDS Watch, and there was about 450 HIV advocates from across the country. And I'll put the connection. The reason that it works for all of us to be there and do the work is because we all have the information that we need when we're going to talk to our representatives and senators. So in a time where funding for cancer is being cut, we need to have as much information as we can possible, not just about us, but about our community. And we keep talking about community. So by having this information, by joining all of us and doing, submitting and having the research and having your information, now when I have the opportunity to go and speak to a representative, whether it be local, national, you have that information in your hand. Although it's very personal about me, it's also a point about my community, the Latino community, where I come from, the grouping. The more prepared we are, the better we can stand up for what we need and what we want. There is no fight without a sword. And in this case, our sword is the information that the All of Us reports gives us. So I feel more prepared now than I did several years ago. I couldn't stand it. If my doctor said, take this pill because it's going to help you, I'd be like, okay, fine. But now I can do the research. I can have the information, and I can go and tell my doctors, like, have we tried this? And now I feel like I'm part of the results of my healthcare, not just watching my healthcare. I hope that makes sense.
It does. It does. And I know that you all don't necessarily know Daniel, but I will tell you, he has a way with words. I love that. There's no fight without a sword, and I really do love that. And your passion just always shines through. Another question I just wanted to throw out to you, and you all kind of touched on it, but I don't know if it's anything that you want to kind of talk a little bit more about. In what ways do you feel that your participation in this program might help others? I know I talked about that all across the country, we have participants who sit on local community and participant advisory boards who also help to inform the program from a local level perspective. And you guys, you know, whether you came from those different local organizations or community organization or our virtual advisory group into the national fold, how does your participation help other people? Yeah.
I can answer if that's okay.
Sure.
I just feel like, again, having a voice around my loved ones, being able to, like, since even being diagnosed with breast cancer, just the information that I've received from the All of Us program and referring people to it, speaking confidently about the results of my I don't know what it's called. I'm sorry, guys, where they give us the information and the feedback based on the saliva test, but just building a stronger trust process, right? And in my family, with my friends, using research and using my story as part of the All of Us program just opens the door for me to communicate how great it is to other people. Now, I can't sway everybody. I can't, I can take you to the water, but I can't make you drink, right? But just knowing that I am a part of it, and most people know that I don't advocate for things that I don't believe in. And this is very much so something that I believe in. And I couldn't, again, imagine what the life process would have been had I not been exposed to All of Us. So just having that has been like a great component of my healing process, from mental to physical to the trust process with our healthcare system. So if I can communicate that to my community, I'm all for it, even if I just touch one person. But I've been told that I've impacted the lives of several people. So that's a pat on the back for me and for the All of Us teams. Yeah. So that would be my response.
Anyone else before we close out?
I'll have to say that my participation has clearly helped represent the Latino and Hispanic community. I still remember when I used to go into supermarkets and libraries in El Paso, my hometown, and talk to my Hispanic community about what the All of Us is about in Spanish, which is a great deal to them, because when I connected with them on that level and that cultural level, it meant so much to them. And coming from also academically, I hope that I have inspired, and I have also been inspired by many students who are doing so many research here with the All of Us. And so I hope that I have helped represent our Hispanic and Latino community with the All of Us, but also I hope that through my participation with the All of Us, I have inspired students, high school students, I know some of them are All of Us scholars, to go into research and, continue with the research that they're doing with their workbench, and being that doctor, that future researcher who, will eventually be receiving their first grant with the All of Us, that circle moment that happened to me a few years back.
Awesome. And we're so proud. Every time I see the work that you're doing, I feel like a proud mama bear. Like, I'm like, oh, go Adriana. So really exciting. But to close this out, I just love to hear just short reflection from you all. And I know I didn't tell you about this specific question. I have 2 questions, and you can answer both of them. You can answer one of them. My first question is, what does this experience mean to you now? And you all kind of have shared that. But you all have been great participants in this program, and we know that today is Science Day, so there's also a lot of researchers who are participating. And so my second question is, what do you want researchers to know? You all are, really diligent, have been donating, biospecimens, donating, responses to questionnaires and surveys, as participant partners in the program who have been a part of our consortium, committees. You've done all sorts of things. And so what are some of the things that you want folks who will access not just your data, but all of the participants in the program's data? What is it something that you want to know based on all of your experiences that you've shared today?
I'll go first. I'm sorry, I do have chemo brain. I can't remember what the first question is, but the second question I got.
Now, but you can answer either or.
Okay, so what I want researchers to know is to approach the work with humanity. I'm not sure how folks are brought into the program or what it is they do, what criteria, but the key component to getting the research and the data that you need is being a human first and then a researcher second. People need to feel welcomed into research and not just feel as though they're like a guinea pig for research, even though ultimately that may be what they are. But people need to feel like that human side of, and the reason that you're doing it and the compassion that you have behind it versus just the textbook style for research. Understand that we are humans first and that we need that love, we need that compassion, we need that understanding, because not only are we participating in this type of platform, but we're also a survivor of something. So that would be my take, and that would be what I would want researchers to know.
Thank you. Daniel?
Sure. What was the first question again?
Just what does this experience mean to you now? I mean, you guys already kind of touched on that. That's why I really wanted you to speak to researchers, but yeah.
Well, since we're talking to researchers, let me put my glasses so I can look smart for a second here. What I'm taking away from the experience and what I'm still getting from the experience is just getting to know me better. And that's such an exciting journey. No matter how young or how old you are, the fact that you can still learn about you and how to be better, how to feel better, and how to contribute to the community. It's a growing process, and all of us has given me that. From the very beginning, the first time I went to that first summit, and I had no clue what I was doing, but somehow I got thrown on stage and started talking, and people were interested in what my lived experience was like. And now I can take that information and use it for my own work. I mean, I've moved from being on disability to having a job to now being a director of a program with my organization. And all of us has been along for the ride in all of it. I was part of the Fitbit program. So every time I looked at my Fitbit, all of us was right there with me. So you guys kept me walking a lot. So just so you know, part of the loss of weight is all thanks to all of us. And what I like to tell the researchers out there is when you are sending somebody a link or you're giving them paper to fill out, a questionnaire to look over, it's not just about the questionnaire. It's not just about those questions. It's about the trust that you're asking us to give you. You're asking somebody to trust you with information. Even when you say this is anonymous, I'm still putting my information, my life on that paper for you to look at and use. Behind me, there's generation, there's culture, there's religion, there's social norms that I live under. So sometimes those questions that you're asking may seem regular, normal, everyday questions for you. But for somebody who's Latino like me, who's a child of immigrants, who grew up that God is watching you, who grew up not trusting doctors, who grew up not knowing who I was. And then as a gay man, same thing. The community, sometimes there's mistrust, sometimes I wasn't treated right. So when I'm sitting in front of you, researcher person, and you're asking me these really personal questions, remember that there's a whole big history behind it. It doesn't matter that it says anonymous. I'm still trusting you with my information. So as you sit in front of me and you ask me where it come from, my sexuality, what did you have for breakfast? Those are very personal questions, and take those and value them. And now that I'm in that space, now that I'm one of you, and I put my glasses back on, now that I'm preparing my own research, I'm taking that with me and realizing that the person sitting in front of me answering those questions has all that baggage that I have with me too. And now you can make a better connection. But trust. If I can say one word to end it all, trust. Thank you.
And to wrap it up, Adriana, as a researcher as well, too.
I'll just be very brief, but academically speaking, as I mentioned, I would like researchers to invite more students to be part of their projects, because that's when mentoring really happens. And I love when mentoring just happens within the branch of the All of Us, because when you mentor one student, that student is then motivated to mentor their own colleagues, and then it's just like a trickle down process that happens. And I've seen it on many All of Us high schoolers who then I know go on to college, and some of them that I've learned, that I've met while they were undergrad and now they're in medical school. Like, I've also witnessed how many All of Us scholars get to mentor so many people around their own academic circles. And I also would love for researchers to collaborate with other institutions or other researchers who are doing similar studies. And I think that's truly possible because all of the studies are publicly, and so I think they are all listed in the same website. I could scroll like 10 pages of all the current studies, and I think some of the studies I've seen sometimes overlap, and I just wish that researchers could get a little bit more acquainted on other studies that are also on similar concepts as theirs, and then probably a much bigger study could be created out of that collaboration. So I think two things: I would love researchers to involve more students, to mentor more students within their own projects. I know the AIM Ahead, the Arizona team, NYU team, they're all doing excellent work, among others. And then secondly, just that collaboration with between researchers who are doing similar studies, because all of that data is available to the public.
Awesome. I had an amazing time talking to all of you today. So I just want to thank you on behalf of the program, on behalf of everybody who's probably listening in the audience, and on behalf of myself, both personally and professionally. I want to thank all three of you for sharing your voices, not just today, but since you've joined the program, and your experiences so openly. Today's conversation is just a powerful reminder that research isn't just about data. It's about people, it's about stories, and it's about impact that extends far beyond any one of us. And so for our researchers and community partners, we hope that these stories really deepen the connection between the work and the communities that it honestly serves. And for our participants, thank you for being at the heart of this journey from discovery to impact. And so again, thank you all for this session today. And while we're still in it, if anybody wants to drop in the chat, what's one word that stood out to you from today's conversation? Because I really thought that it was amazing and powerful. And I hope that all of you continue to go out and do great things, not just in the health and the research world, but all over. Thank you so much. And here's some next sessions for you guys to tune into, and enjoy the rest of your day with purpose, on purpose. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.